Hey, I think we're live now. Hopefully, Adam will appear soon. Emma is watching. Hey, Emma.
Hello. Well,
Hello.
welcome. How are you?
Good, good. How are you?
I'm grand, thank you. Hey, Sophie.
Oh my God, Emma Atwood. How does fame feel?
Well, it feels great, actually. I'm really honoured to be here. My parents and everyone else. I'm just joshing. Okay, so let's just get it over and done with. Talk it nice and quickly. You're hosting this because we couldn't get our Facebooks to talk when I was hosting it, and this was the only way we could both get onto the Facebook Live together. So that's cool. So I'll just do a quick introduction as if it's the Fit Stop pod, and then we'll kick off from there. All right.
Sure.
And also, anyone who's watching, if you've got any questions, then type them in, and we'll do our best to deal with those as we're going through the podcast. Right. You ready?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so episode 26 of the Fit Stop Pod, and today. You gonna say hey?
Hello. Sorry.
Was there a bit of lag there?
Hi. Yeah, a little
Um,
bit, little bit.
okay. Well, yeah. So Natalie's been working with me for about a year, and in fact, it's pretty much been a year dead on. We've got our year celebration coming up soon, and within that, we are going to. You're going to take me to the stables to do some riding, because Natalie is a para dressage rider. And when she first come to me, she embarked on something called the Winter Championships, which, do you want to just say a little bit about what the Winter Championships is?
Yeah, so it's basically para dressage competition. We go and qualify for the Winter Championships, and that's where we were last year. I was just having a look actually over our Facebook messages from when we first met, and it's literally that was when we first met last year when I did the Winter Champs, yeah.
Perfect. And for those who, yes, I doubt any of you actually know Natalie's story. She literally fell off the horse last year, and we're marking a year in the life of Natalie South, because this year at Winter Championships, as I'm sure you'll hear in a minute, everything went a little bit better than her falling off the horse. So I wanted to get her on the podcast to discuss what progress looks like, what she's worked on, how she's developed, and basically just figure it all out with her. So, Natalie, why don't you introduce yourself, and why don't you tell us in your own words how you ended up right here, right now on this podcast?
Okay, so my name's Natalie, aka Rockability Dressage.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah. Uh, so I don't really know how I ended up on this podcast, to be honest. I'm just one of Adam's clients. Kind of went to him with a bit of a challenge a year ago, saying, "Hi, I'm disabled. Help me out."
excellent. So your disability is probably the best place to frame the whole picture of what you do and why you do it. So do you want to just tell us a little bit about what it is you have?
Yeah, so I've got CP, which is cerebral palsy. It affects basically everything from like my waist down, pretty much. So I don't have a lot of strength there. I don't have a lot of balance. Yeah, and I feel like we're kind of discovering things that I can and can't do as we're going along anyway. So
We are.
yeah,
Good.
yeah.
So cerebral palsy. I had to be fair, when you first contacted me and everything. In fact, I don't know many personal trainers in the world who would really know how to deal with a client unless they specialize in it who has cerebral palsy, because it's one of those very complex disabilities, isn't it? That no cerebral
Hmm.
palsy is the same in any one person. Is that
No,
right? Okay.
exactly.
Oh, right. So I'm
Exactly.
right. I'm right, yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
Right, okay, cool. So it's different for everybody, and therefore you just have no way or no idea how to specialize with it. And it was just so you literally showed up, and I just had to go, right, let's see what we can do. And I remember that first session like it was yesterday. So talk me through the first session, how it was from your point of view, if you can remember.
Well, I was terrified. I think I sort of explained to you before that I'd tried personal trainers in the past, and the first thing any personal trainer would try and get me to do is to do a squat. Now, that at the time, that was not even like I couldn't
Thinkable.
even entertain that as an idea. Exactly. But yeah, you still went along with it and you said it's fine, we'll just see what we can do. And yeah.
And that was that, wasn't it? I think I remember
Yeah,
saying to you,
exactly.
if I sit you down a lot, please don't be offended.
Exactly, exactly. And it's yeah, I don't think I ever sit down now during a session.
No, no, I won't let you. And then so how did you get into the world of para dressage? So your cerebral palsy must have driven you a long way through that, right?
Yeah, so I mean, I've been riding, it'll be 25 years this year now. And I
Wow.
started when I was five. And I started riding just as a therapy, basically. So my physio at the time said, you know, this said to my mum, this will be good for Natalie. So along I went and just did some little pony lessons at an RDA centre. And
What's
then
an RDA
I
center?
a riding for the disabled
Okay.
centre. Um, and then I just changed schools, so I started riding at the same place as my mum, and then it got to the Paralympics, so 2012, and I went to watch para dressage, and I was like, this is amazing, like this is something that I want to get into. So I remember contacting Deborah at Chigwell Riding Trust and saying, hi, I horse ride and I'd like to compete, can you help me? So that was sort of 2013,
Right.
and ever since then it's just kind of escalated.
Excellent. And where's it escalated to?
Last year I did my first one-star international competition um,
And
in
in
para
the
dressage.
so in the pecking order, how high is that?
So three-star is your Paralympians and people on the world class program. They do the three-star competition,
Right.
and then you've got two-star and one-star. So last year I did one-star competition, so I'm on that sort of Paralympic ladder,
You
if you
are,
like.
aren't you?
Um,
2 steps away,
yeah.
2 stars away. Fan, that's awesome. So because we're sort of trying to mark a year, so can you take us back to the Winter Championships last year that you competed in and talk us through it and what happened?
So yeah, Winter Championships last year, I was a grade three rider. So basically para dressage, you're graded as to sort of how disabled you are,
Hmm.
which I don't really like, but it kind of puts you on a level playing field, so it's the nature of the sport. So yeah, last year I was a grade three rider and qualified for Myosco, which is the Winter Championships. Went along, and that was with Hugo. So went along with
Wait, Hugo's her
another rider
horse.
from, yeah, well, he's not mine. He belongs to Chigwell. But
Is the
yeah,
horse you
so
compete on?
he's the exactly, exactly. But yeah, so we went along and we were in the warm up and basically we had a fall. So another horse came too close to Hugo. He got scared. He went one way, I went the other way, and yeah.
You fell off the horse
So
in
I did. But
every sense of the word, like quite literally.
mhm,
Yeah.
I did. I hit the floor. It was a pretty crashing fall, but I got back on, and I went in and did my test, and yeah, at least I still got round it and I did it.
And that was the key, wasn't it? You got back on the horse, didn't you?
Exactly, exactly. That's the thing. If you ever fall, you have to get back on.
And that's something that I've definitely noticed about you, Natalie, in the year we've worked together. In that it doesn't matter what challenge you're faced with, you either rise to it or you fail at it, but you never let it put you off. So
No.
everything I throw at you in the gym, which we'll get into, it's either look, either can or I can't. If I can't, I'll keep working until I can, and all the rest of it. And I think that's a massive indicator of who you are as a person, how you've achieved what you've achieved over this last year. So, in your own words, take us through that last year. So, you finished that Winter Championships. Where did you place?
Last, it was fourth out of four. So
Fair
yeah.
enough.
Um, and then yeah, basically that kind of spurred me on a bit, and I got I kind of thought, right, that's it now. I've had the fall, even though it wasn't during the test, it was during the warm up, but it kind of impacted the whole thing. And just my drive from then has just kind of increased and increased. And I thought the way that I'm going to get better at the sport is to get better with my fitness. So that's exactly what I did. That's why I came to you. I think I also came to you because of the Tough Mudder as well, but that's a
Right.
whole different story.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
um, but but yeah, so basically with my riding, I'm just really driven now, and so created the Rockability Dressage as a sort of brand, if you like, to and we've had a lot of chats about brands, sort of you with the gym starter and me with Rockability, and we've had, I think our sort of training sessions have become a bit of a
A jam
bit
session
of
for business.
exactly, exactly, yeah. But it's good because it helps me sort of focus, and it's given me that sort of purpose, and it just means that when I go and compete, I just have this drive that I just never had before. So
That's
yeah.
brilliant. That's really good. So, where do you think that drive really stems from? Like, because I remember in our first session, I didn't know much about para dressage. I didn't know anything about dressage at all. I didn't really know anything about horses. And I remember asking you, how serious are we here? Is Paralympics feasible? Is Paralympics just a dream? Or can we realistically get you there? Can that be something that you achieve in your life? And you straight up said to me,
Yes.
yep,
Yes, I want it to be. And, it's one of those things. I'm, well, almost 30 now, but it's, I think with dressage, you can just keep going and keep going. So that's what I plan to do.
yeah.
And I'm not going to let my disability hold me back, which is the whole point of para dressage.
hmm
So, yeah, I'm just going to keep fighting and just keep working my way up.
I think, yeah, when you flat out just said yes, bluntly, it reminded me of when people used to ask me about acting and used to ask me about, do you really think you're going to be an actor? Or even when it was just like getting into drama school and stuff. And I was like, I had to just realistically look at them, stare them down and say yes. And if they laughed at me, fine, I'd never talk to them again. If they went, okay, how can I help? Or what can we do to help that? Then I knew they were someone who I wanted to hang around more with and stuff. And having that kind of cold, callous attitude towards it is really useful, I find, because helps, it just helps people know that you do have a single mindset towards it and
Yeah,
a very,
definitely.
a very chiseled look moving forward. And, there was nothing going to stand in my way. And it let people know that they wouldn't get in my way. And that's very similar to you. You're not, and you don't. I think over the year we've been working together, you've got a lot stronger in your conviction of what you want because
Hmm.
you've seen that gradual improvement over the year, haven't you? Both in your
Yeah.
scores and both in your competitions, and also in your physical being as well. So
Yeah,
should we? So
definitely.
should we separate those two topics? So should we just deal with Natalie and competitions? So what progress have you made
Hmm.
going through that?
Well, quite a lot of progress in that. So my grade has changed to begin with. So I got when I got my international classification, my grade went down. So I had to sort of almost start from scratch in that I had to learn new tests and just learn new things that the judges might be looking for at those different grades. And but yeah, so I've only sort of been competing as a grade two rider since the summer, so since July.
Hmm.
Uh, and yeah, we're just chipping away at it, working our way through the competitions and just trying to get ourselves out there basically. Yep. So the at Myasco, the Winter Championships this weekend, I got 70.5. So that's for me, that's quite a good score, and that's with two judges. So
Wait,
yeah, it's
for
really good.
anyone, that's quite a good score, isn't it? That's how he was explaining it to me on Monday.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a good benchmark to have.
It's a very good benchmark to have. And so then so basically that sums up the year, doesn't it? So and where did you place on the Winter Championships this weekend?
I came first,
You,
which was nice.
yeah, it was better than nice, wasn't it? It was bloody awesome.
Yeah, so I feel like I've sort of gone full circle now from last year to this year,
Quite
and I've
literally.
redeemed myself.
You
Yeah,
have indeed.
exactly. So,
Because you got back on the horse, right?
hmm exactly, exactly.
And you moved forward and you worked
Hmm.
bloody hard, which has been like I think the real truth behind the well, obviously it's the truth behind any success, but
Hmm.
just how hard you have worked on things has been incredible, because you also came to me about concern about your body weight like a lot of women do, and
Yeah,
you understood that the direct link that would have towards your ability to ride to a higher level, and you've worked really
yeah,
hard on that. So do you want to talk about that journey as well?
yeah. So that was, like you say, something which I came to you about, which, like you say, it's a common thing for anyone, weight, excess weight. But I mean, I've lost quite a lot of weight in this year that we've been working together, and it's actually evident now, not just in sort of looking at progress pictures, but also in the way I ride. That's really changed. The way that I just hold myself as a person has changed. My flexibility, which is something that I've always struggled with, that's really improved, which has just sort of had a knock-on effect on everything else, which has been really good. So,
What's been so hard about that journey? What's been the hardest thing you've had to do? That was a bad question. Sorry. What's been the hardest thing you've had to do about that whole
uh,
journey?
about what the weight
Yeah.
loss, um, I think because it's sort of for me, you kind of, and I think it's kind of the media expects, for you to say, oh, you're losing weight, oh, you've lost like pounds and pounds and pounds in such a short space of time. But for me, it's getting changing my mindset with that and realizing it is coming off slow, but it is coming off, and the slower it comes off, the slower it would be to go back on.
Yeah.
So I think it's just more sustainable.
Hmm.
So yeah,
And
that's
what
been
what
good.
have you done to help conquer that?
Well, not look at the media.
Well, yeah, of course. But I mean, like, what have you done to help conquer your own weight? What things have you worked hard on?
So my nutrition
Hmm.
is massive. Like
Yeah.
that's a really big thing that I've changed.
Because a year ago, I'm just going to be honest and say it, you weren't treating yourself like an athlete. You weren't treating
N
yourself like an athlete at all, were you?
no, not at all,
You
not at
you was
all.
treating
And
yourself
I'm
who with someone who had a hobby of para dressage with high dreams,
yeah,
but you wasn't taking the actions to realize those dreams. Is that fair to say?
Exactly, yeah. And it's about that sort of lifestyle. So it's, the fact that I want to do well in para dressage doesn't just come down to how well I ride a horse. It also comes down to how well I look after myself at
Mm-hmm.
the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And that, like we were saying, involves nutrition.
Yep.
So yeah, I just had to get on with it and just, yeah.
So what did you do with nutrition?
Well, I've kind of tried a lot of different things. Obviously, you've helped me a lot with the little like guide thing that you have. I can't remember what it's called.
The well, there's quite a few. Do you mean Om Nom Nom, my recipe book, or the Kickstart
That's
Meal
it,
Plan?
yeah.
Om Nom Nom,
Well, both,
both, yeah.
both really. I mean, yeah, and just having like stopping eating shitty food and just planning what we're going to eat and just making sure that we stick to it. And yeah.
Good. And on game day, when you're up and eventing, because
Hmm.
para events, they're normally weekends, aren't they? They're not just one day here, one day there. It's not like 90 minutes of a football match. You're away for a period of days, aren't you? So how do you deal with
For
your
the
food?
championships.
Yeah. And how do you deal with
Yeah.
your food when you're away?
Well, as best as I can. Obviously, given constraints of where we might be staying. So sometimes we stay on like college premises with college food. But it's just about making those sort of informed choices and just doing as well as you can. Obviously, staying off drink. Um, and yeah, just like I say, just being smart really with it and not snacking. And like we were talking about the other day about on the actual competition day, just planning around the competition. So if I've got an early competition, we were talking about how I don't tend to eat, so which doesn't really sound very good. But so on Sunday my competition time was 20 past 8, so I just decided to not eat until afterwards, and yeah, it seemed to pay off. So
It did pay off, didn't
yeah,
it? And then we're going to try and
yeah,
we spoke about trying to take that forward, didn't we, into your everyday life as
hmm,
best we can,
yeah,
so that it's less
hmm,
of a shock to your system when you take that forward into event days.
yeah, exactly.
Awesome. So that pretty much rounds all that off. What about rockability dressage? What is rockability dressage?
So that is me. Um, that
In a
is
nutshell.
that is a brand that I've created with the help of the Eastern region British Dressage, because I was their supported rider. So we just created this brand basically to help me with para dressage. So, a lot of it involves like looking for sponsorship and things like that. So if I have an identity that is quite um what's the word I'm thinking of?
Unique.
Can't think. Noticeable.
Yep. Stands out.
Exactly, unique. And it's something that I can use as a sort of unique selling point, if you like. And yeah, so hopefully it's something which I'm still kind of finding my feet with, but looking at sort of other dressage type brands, type blogs, that kind of thing, it does seem something which is quite exciting. So we'll see where it goes.
That's all we ever can do. And
Exactly.
what changes have you noticed in your physical self over the last year? I mean, we spoke about the weight, that's fine, but there's so much more to it.
Hmm.
I mean, being a person
Yeah.
who deals with their disability every single day, obviously you can't avoid it, works in London, has
No.
a busy life, has a busy job, and everything else. What breakthroughs have you made in your actual body? I know you spoke earlier about balance and
Hmm.
your poise and the way you can just flexibility and your strength.
Yeah. Hmm.
But what's been your biggest battles in that regard, and what's been your biggest breakthroughs?
I don't trip over as much anymore. So anyone that knows me knows that I can, or I used to be able to just trip over on air. which
I seem to do that as well, and I don't have a disability, so maybe that's just normal.
maybe. But yeah, that seems to have gone down, which is good. And I'm breaking habits which I kind of created for myself. So like we were talking the other day about the steps. So I have this, it's all gonna come out now.
It has to. It has to come out.
I have this thing where when I do flights of stairs, I count the steps every time. So I've stopped doing that, which is good. And also every time that I do a flight of stairs, I always lead with my right foot. My right foot will always be the first step.
Why is that? Is that because
Um,
you think your right foot's stronger?
I think so, which I think is actually backwards because I think my left side is stronger.
Right.
But I don't know. I don't know. It's always just been my right foot first. So that's a habit which I've broken, and I texted you about it earlier.
You
I
texted
broke it
about
today.
today, didn't you? You
Um,
texted me about that
so,
today.
yeah, I did. I did. Yeah, so it seems like such a sort of trivial little thing that I started a flight of stairs with my left foot without even thinking about it. But it's actually if you have like a lifetime habit basically that you've managed to break essentially without even realizing, then I think that's a big thing. Like you should definitely shout about that.
Why was breaking that habit so important though?
Um, I think it's well, I don't know, like I think it's just sort of for my own self, like I've sort of broken that habit and I'm being able to take that control of my body back, if
Yeah,
that makes
makes
sense.
perfect sense. It's perfect sense. I
Yeah.
love it. I
So
love it. It's awesome. You, one thing which I imagine, I don't know, this is not based on any fact, but colloquially, well, having worked with you for the last year and what we talk about quite a lot in our sessions, I imagine generally, and I know it's a generalization, so please don't get up in my face about it, but generally, I imagine people who have a fight with their body, in fact, no, not general, this is a fact, because it's not just people with disability that this affects. This affects everybody. Anyone who fights their body in some way, shape, or form, whether that be through weight, whether that be through, for instance, I've got a congenital heart disease. Or I don't think it's a disease. I don't know how you describe it. Or I've got a congenital heart problem. Whether that be through a disability like yours, then we all naturally gravitate towards habits in our lives that slightly protect us and slightly help us
mm,
feel safe in the big wide world, you know. So someone who's struggling with their weight, they might wear baggier clothes, for instance, or someone who's, even
mhm.
though they don't look as attractive in the baggier clothes, they just might. I, with my heart condition, would probably not run a marathon. Well, I have, but I won't do one again. Or, you know, or if at some point in my life someone had told me the wrong advice at the wrong time, I might have never become a personal trainer, and I might never progress my life. Or and someone with a disability probably
Mhm.
does favor just for comfort of not having to think through their body all the time and fight through their body. They're going to let these little ingrained patterns dictate their life because it makes them feel a bit safer and a bit more comfortable. And so
Yeah.
you, by putting your foot on that step in a different manner, as we've discussed, as we've actually kind of made this discovery over the last few weeks, I feel, you're
Yeah.
starting to take control of your body a lot more than let your body
Mhm.
control you. And that's not just really important for you because of your disability. That's really important for everyone to understand that they can control their body rather than let their body
Mhm.
control their brain.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely 100%.
Have
100%.
you noticed that in anything else in your life?
Um, no, I think like not that I can think of, like this is sort of the biggest thing for me, I think.
Because
And it,
I noticed you were walking a lot better the other day, didn't you? And you said,
yeah.
was it Greg noticed that your balance was so much better?
Yeah, well, and John is as well, like,
So sorry,
and it's
Greg's
just
Greg's her riding coach. I'm her fitness coach.
Oh
Greg's her
yeah,
riding coach. Hey, Greg, if you're listening. And John is her wonderful boyfriend, who's also a client. But
yeah.
yeah, and John's an awesome client, and he's an awesome boyfriend as well. And what did he notice when you was getting up to the getting on the horse?
Just that, so basically, when I was warming up, we have this, I don't even know what you'd call it, contraption. This device,
Device.
basically, is, yeah, it's called an eye joy, which is a bit of a weird name, but
I so
honestly,
just to put the eye joy into perspective, I always think of it as one of those bucking balls that you get in clubs, that you jump
yeah,
on and you kind of cling onto for as long as you can while you're drunk and it's trying to throw you off. That's what I imagine it is.
yeah, pretty much. It's pretty much that, but it's a bit more portable than an actual ball that you find in a club.
Yeah,
Um,
and a bit more safe.
but yeah, exactly, exactly. But basically, like, so that I use that to warm up because my hip flexors are super tight.
Hmm.
So if I sit on that for a bit, then it just loosens off my hip flexors enough to sort of help me out with getting on the horse and stuff. And usually when John comes with me to competitions, he has to help me to get onto that. He turned around, I hopped on like it was nothing, and he looked at me and was like, "Oh, I didn't expect that. Like, I thought you'd need some help." So that was that. And then when it came to getting on the horse, again, like, I still need help now to get on, but the amount of help that I'm needing is becoming less and less.
Hmm.
So that's, and he's noticed that as well. So that's really good because that's something which I've always needed help with throughout my whole riding career. So the fact that it's noticeably becoming less is a breakthrough.
It's a huge breakthrough, and it's not to be undermined. So I'm just thinking, there's probably a lot of people listening to this or watching this, and they're thinking, Natalie's on her way. She's doing well. She's done this, that, and the other, and rightly so. So, what advice would you dish out to anyone who's sitting here thinking, "I wish I could lose a few pounds. I wish I could master a sport, or maybe they've got a sport as a hobby that they've always wanted to take more seriously." And for someone who's kind of, and in fairness, it's only really taken a year, right? You took
Hmm.
action, and it's only taken a
Yeah.
year of your life to
Hmm.
suddenly, like, what was a dream is now becoming, it feels like, quite a quick reality. And
Hmm.
what advice would you give out to anyone who wants to do something like that?
Go out there and do it. Just go and do it. You know, it's it's it sounds really simple because it is. At the end of the day, you're gonna come against challenges, but you got to try. You just got to try it, and those challenges, you'll be all right. You'll work around them.
Is that literally your only attitude to challenges? That's right, you figure it out.
Well, yeah, because what else are you gonna do? You're not. If you come against a challenge, you're gonna figure it out,
Mm.
and if you can't approach the challenge conventionally, you'll find a different way to do it.
Yeah,
And
that's about all there is, isn't there?
yeah, exactly.
And where do you want to see para dressage move to? What do you want to do within the field of para dressage? What, like, because your disability must mean so much to you both. Well, only positive really, because it's all you've known. You can't think negatively about it. So where, well, you can think how you want about it. It's up to you. I'm not telling you how to think, but I know you don't. So
No.
where do you want to, what do you want to try and do in that world? What do you really want to change, achieve, develop, and be? What kind of, in that world, what do you want to be Natalie's legacy?
I just want to make it accessible really for people like, it's I think like sort of dressage and dressage, both of them has got a bit of a reputation for being a sport that involves money and upper class people, and I don't have money. I'm not upper class, but
You're from
I
Essex.
seem to exactly, exactly, but I seem to be doing all right. Yeah, so I just I want to see it grow really,
How?
and it'll be nice.
How do you make that happen for someone?
Just get people out there, get people trying it, and just try and put it on a platform. I don't know how, but just just try and get it on that platform and get people aware that it exists, really.
Okay. And where would be the best place for someone to go if they wanted to suddenly take up dressage?
Uh, well, start with the British Dressage website.
Yeah,
That'd be a good start.
which is
Um,
www dot.
BritishDressage.co.uk.
Perfect.
But obviously, as well, if they are a disabled rider, then start by going through the RDA,
Which
which I
is
think is something like rda.org.uk,
okay.
maybe. We'll go with that. Um,
Is that
and
rideability
yeah,
dressage?
no, RDA
What does that
is
riding
riding for
Disabled. Oh, that
for
makes
the
sense.
disabled.
I'm all caught up on rockability dressage.
Oh, it's Riding for the Disabled Association.
Perfect.
So they're actually just celebrating their 50th year
Oh
this year,
wow.
which I think
Happy
is nice.
birthday.
But but obviously, if they're local, come to Chigwell. Come visit us at Chigwell.
Yeah, if you're in Essex, that is.
Yeah, exactly,
And what's the name
exactly.
of the
But
stables you ride out
yeah, there's
of?
loads. So it's Chigwell Riding Trust. I've
Cool.
just seen Emma's just put the website up,
Oh, perfect. Cheers, Emma.
rda.org.uk. I was
Thank
correct.
you. I
Thanks, Em.
I
Um,
There we go. Yep, it is
hey,
www.rda.org.uk. Perfect.
yeah. So I ride out of Chigwell Riding Trust, which is obviously in Chigwell.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, but RDA is definitely a good place to start if you're a disabled rider. If you're a able-bodied rider, go through British Dressage if you want to get into dressage. If you want to do anything other than that, I'm not your person.
Fair enough. And last question. Where does the next 12 months lead Natalie South? Because you promised me you'd be waking up at 5 a.m. every day.
Uh, well, I haven't read the book yet.
Oh, right, okay.
I want to read the book yet.
Right, read the
So
book
once
first
I've
then,
read
yeah?
the 5 a.m. club,
Right,
yeah, exactly. Once I've read that book, I will be joining the 5 a.m. club,
excellent.
and that'll be my year. That's it.
Just waking up at 5 a.m.
Um, exactly, exactly. No, hopefully I will, well, short term, sort of in the next few months, hopefully we'll start getting some points together for summer championships and qualifying for that. And then in the summer, we've got other competitions. So there's a couple of international competitions coming up. So hopefully do a one or maybe a two-star competition. Um, and there's also the Para Home International, which is coming up in summer as well. So fingers crossed I get selected for that team, which is the Eastern Region team. Um, yeah, so summer's always a busy time.
It is.
But yeah, just keep getting out there, keep competing, keep working with you, and just,
And Greg
yeah,
and Hugo,
keep trucking. Exactly. Oh, and Hugo.
who really is the
Yeah,
unsung hero of all this story, right?
he is. Well, I wouldn't be here without him, would I?
Um, it was nice to see his little face. Well, it's not little, it's
Yeah.
a huge, huge horse. And yeah, I'm looking forward to coming down and meeting him, to be honest.
Uh, yeah, yeah, no, that'd be fun.
It'd be great fun. Right. Well, I won't take up any more of your evening. Thanks so much for coming on, Natalie. I
No
think your
worries.
story is one of real triumph, and you know what? It's triumph no matter what. Whether it's just it's been such a wonderful year of discovery for myself working with you, and hopefully it has been for you as well. And to see you
Yeah.
get progress when I saw the Instagram post that you'd won, I was just filled with absolute joy, and I was
Ah,
so
good.
proud of you, and I was so proud of everything you've been through this year, and just the way you managed to develop everything and get forward and get moving forward, and just to see the fruits of your labor, because I know how much it means to you. I know how much you care about it, and to
Yeah,
have that result really, really did mean a lot to me, and it's nothing to do with me really. So it must have meant so much to you and your family. So really well done. Congratulations on
yeah.
winning,
Thank
and
you.
congratulations on everything you've done this year. And just keep up the good work. Keep being you. Keep fighting the good fight. And that's pretty much all I
Uh,
have to say.
Great. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Well done. All right. I'll see you later.
All right. Bye.
Ciao.